The Ancients' World. Chapter 151, The Legacy That Should Be Legendary. I bring us down fast and land in front of a cave with ice and snow flowing out of it. It looks just as it was described. This looks like a cave on the outside, but the inside is filled with labyrinth-like tunnels and structures and pathways. We'll have to get halfway through the dungeon before getting to a new section where the puzzle is supposed to unlock the Legacy class path. I take the potions out of my inventory and hand them all to Sally. She will need them if she is to survive the cold of this dungeon. Stay behind me, Sally. The monsters in this dungeon are powerful. I'll protect you as long as you stay close. I hope you are as excited as I am about this. I'm pumped to challenge such an infamous dungeon. All the monsters inside are reinforced with ice buffs that increase creatures' defense and health pools. I don't expect there to be any magic casters in this dungeon. This dungeon is for wielder-type combatants. Magic casters aren't fond of this dungeon type since it's all tight spaces and no room to cast powerful spells. A weakness to the devastating power of mages is dungeons and environments just like the one we are heading into. Sally uncorks a potion and drinks it. I'm ready. I'll follow your lead and make sure not to get in your way. If you do end up needing my help, let me know. It's nice to have a partner to do this with. We walk side by side into the cave and immediately notice how cold it is. I keep my wings toggled on for the extra defense and offensive capabilities they bring. It's going to get very claustrophobic in this dungeon. It has a labyrinth-like design that confuses the people in it. Luckily for us, I know the exact routes to get to what we need. So it comes down to clearing out monsters as we go along. She nods her head as I see the tip of her nose gets a little red from the freezing air. She looks to be holding up fine other than that. She isn't shivering and is walking with caution mixed with confidence. She has her sword out to be safe. I draw the witness and get ready too. The monsters should be showing up soon and with them a complex fighting environment. We have already started to navigate the twisting and turning of the design. However, I'm following the instructions to the letter that I remember. After a few minutes of walking, I hear many creatures running in the direction we are walking to. They soon come into view as the blue fire torches light the hallway. The monsters are on the lower side and aren't dangerous for me. I don't even use my sword and instead use my wings to dispatch the ones getting close. Many stop their assault and stare at the two of us as I kill. What are they doing, Zirn? I've never seen a monster stop in this manner before. I have only seen it a couple of times. I also got some EXP for that, around 2%. I open my stat panel to see how close I am to leveling up. Slayer, Zirn, LVL.81. EXP, 97/100%. Title, The Son of Archangel Michael, hidden, +3 more. Stats. Strength, 2095 Endurance, 2045 Dexterity, 2125 Speed, 2240 Focus, 14660. Health, 16,560/16,560 Mana, 146600/146600. Stat points, 0 Armor rating, 500. Inventory. Passive perks. Inheritor of the Sword, Son of Heaven, Slayer of Evil, Holy Willow Trees, Savior, Finder of Legends, the Divine who has legend destined for greatness, Dungeon Diver and Overachiever. Active skills. Heaven's Light LVL.9325/900 Protected by Heaven LVL.9225/900/LVL.224600/13000 Parry LVL.380/300 Double Strike N/A King Slayer N/A Raging Machine N/A Winged Glory Angelic Flight. I'm at 97% now, getting pretty close to level 82. The information about the boss is correct too. It controls the dungeon's monsters with its hive mind ability. They all share the same intelligent thoughts as the boss does. They slowly back up into the darkness that isn't being lit by the blue torches on the walls, and we are left alone. The boss has a hive mind ability. Whatever the monsters see and experience, so does the boss and vice versa. It has a giant weakness to it. Anything being affected by the hive mind will die once the boss dies. While it makes coordination easy, it has flaws. It comes with its share of risks. If you can't reach the boss directly, you can harm it by killing enough of its drones. You can count on dungeons or wild creatures of the sort to be a unique opponent to take on, but the majority of them are easy to beat once you find the boss's weakness. Since the hive mind is an ability, anything with substantial brain power can learn and use the skill. It's not exclusive to a single type of monster. Some are born with the ability, even humanoid creatures like humans and lizardmen. It's very rare, though, since brain size impacts the skill's abilities. Do you not know the monster, or are you going to continue keeping me in the dark? I know the boss's name to this dungeon, but that's it. The forum never went into detail about the monster species. Only its unique skills and craftiness to get out of tough spots. I don't want to keep Sally in the dark, but the less she knows about what's ahead, the easier it will be when adapting on the fly. I have an idea of what it could be, but I don't know for sure. It's not something you have to worry yourself over. We'll be getting your legacy class before we fight the boss. In fact, we don't even need to fight the boss. We can get you the class and get out of here. That isn't something I'd normally do. Since Sally is here, I have to consider her too. We walk down the paths of this complex dungeon, and I'm following the instructions from the forum to the best I can remember. After another 10 minutes of walking, we come across a door. Just like the forum said, we would. I walk up to it and push it open. The door slowly opens, and an old office is what reveals itself. This is the room with the puzzle in it. Now all I have to do is find out where the puzzle is and try to solve it. I don't see any obvious traps, so I walk in, and I feel something drain on my power. It's only for a second, but it happens. This place hasn't seen any visitors in decades. Look at all this dust. Sally starts to sound colder, and as I think that, she pulls out her second potion and drinks it. Who do you think this office belonged to? If it's hidden so deep into a dungeon, it had to be someone who didn't want to be found. I agree with her deduction. It could have been a powerful mage or a researcher. I walk over to the obvious desk and sit in the chair that the owner would have sat in. There are old books that have long rotted away. I open some of the drawers, and most are empty and filled with dust. The only thing I found was an old broken pencil. I lean back in the chair, thinking of where the puzzle could be. It's in this room, and there is a hidden passage somewhere around here. Look for anything out of place, things that haven't rotted away or have magic coming from them. Sally should know what we are looking for. 2 eyes are better than 1. The condition of everything could also be a decoy. I use inspect on some of the things in the room, but nothing come up. As I look around, I see a small picture on a wall that hasn't degraded at all. That is something that is out of place in this decaying room. I stand up and walk over to it. Once I get closer, I notice that it's a familiar face. It's Flint. He is standing next to a small girl. This must be Ulmaruna before she did whatever she did. I take the picture off the wall and take it out of its frame. I turn it around and notice a message inscribed on the back. It's in a language I'm unfamiliar with. After a couple of seconds, the letters shift and turn into a readable message. What I read tells me this is the puzzle that needs to be solved. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. Many believe me to know all the answers to their questions, and they are right. At the same time, they are wrong. I'm more than one. Only those versed in knowledge truly know me. What am I? Talk about a cryptic puzzle. This seems to have been written by Flint himself with the multiple dead ends it leads to. Many believe it holds all the answers, and they are both right and wrong. It's also more than one, and only those versed in knowledge truly know it. If I didn't know any better, I'd say this puzzle was made specifically for Ulmaruna, and both her and Flint are powerful mages. From what I know, I can only surmise a couple of answers. Time to try them out. Chapter 152, The Legacy That Should Be Legendary 2. It's more of a riddle than a puzzle. It would have been a nice clarification in the forum post. I wonder how the original people who did this solved the puzzle. They didn't know Flint or Ulmaruna. They had to have spent tons of time researching before they actually answered. The riddle states that there is more than one. It holds the answers and yet doesn't. My knowledge of Ancient's world is the greatest of all the players currently playing. Since Ulmaruna and Flint were both mages, it has to be about magic. The different types of magic. Nothing happens, and my first answer is no good. If it's not the different types of magic, then perhaps it's matter and states. Solid, liquid, gas, and plasma. Nothing again. You would think those answers work. This might be why Ulmaruna never solved it. Well, I don't know if she even attempted. The obvious answers are now gone, and there is no hope of a quick solution with them. I walk back over to the desk and sit down in the chair. I place the puzzle in front of me and stare at it. Sally comes up beside me and looks at it too. Perhaps it's our concept of reality? Time, energy, and space. Sally comes up with a good answer, but there is no reaction. Flint might have philosophical tendencies, but I don't know him well enough to say he does. This is going to take a long time, isn't it? We got nothing other than time. Monsters don't attack this area because it's protected by magic. I close my eyes and cover my face with my hands. It's tailored to Ulmaruna. No one else would know the answer. I have knowledge next to nothing when it comes to Ulmaruna. All I know of her now is she's a dark sorcerer and is in bed with Belvia. This was made when she wasn't evil and wasn't someone who'd curse an entire species. Sally, what do you know about the kingdom of Belvia? Sally has been here way longer than I have. She might have the insight I don't. She picks up the picture and looks at the actual photo instead of the riddle. When I was still a slave, most illegal trading was done in Belvia. It's one of the places with very loose laws and corrupt officials. The bell tower in the background of this picture was once the home of the monks of Azurlar, till it was destroyed in a riot. I quickly take the picture out of her hand and stare at it. The answer is right in front of us. Now to interpret it into the answer for the puzzle. Ulmaruna may come from Belvia. This picture was taken when she was still a little girl. Damn, we have the answer. There isn't a way to put it into words the puzzle would recognize as an answer. I hate wordplay and games. It makes things more complicated than they have to be. Sally stays quiet with a thinking look. Flint is a cynic and wouldn't make it something that a naive person would say. I doubt Ulmaruna was a naive girl. She isn't even smiling in the picture. Being a cynical man and powerful mage, Flint would point out the hypocrisies of man and its failings, while turning them into lessons at the same time. Now how would Flint and Ulmaruna answer this puzzle? What do the most cynical people think when confronted with a question like this? This is way more challenging than I thought. I wasn't expecting to direct people and their beliefs. I was planning on some mental tests. In a sense, it fits. Only people like Flint and Ulmaruna would answer the riddle. They would only trust people with mindsets like them. Hold on, that might be the answer, at least one of them. The human nature and its ability to grow rapidly at the cost of others. Both organic and inorganic. This ends up destroying other potentially great creatures too. Turning humanity into a parasite. The picture bursts into blue flames and flies at an old bookshelf in the room. It sets it on fire and burns it to dust fast. A new path has revealed itself, and there is bone-chilling cold coming from the path. Sally immediately pulls out a potion as her teeth chatter together in the cold. She drinks it fast and looks to have warmed up. The answer was something only people who believe the worst of humanity could see. I'm glad I've met the owner of that riddle. If I hadn't, then we'd be stuck here for a while. Sally nods her head, understanding the worst of humanity. She has been exposed to it for many years. It was thanks to her help that I found the answer. Thanks for helping, Sally. I wouldn't have figured it out if it weren't for you looking in places I failed to. It's a good thing you did. I would have missed it. She gives a bashful smile at my compliment. She deserves the credit. From what I remember, the class should be down this hall. Once we reach the chamber, ignore the scroll floating in the middle of the room. It's a trap. There is a lot of power at stake. Flint wouldn't want anyone undesirable getting it. I begin walking down the hall, and Sally follows behind me. As we walk, torches along the walls light themselves. What should I go for once we reach the chamber? If it's full of traps, how are we supposed to know where the class is? She brings up a great question, and I plan to tell her once we get to the chamber. The forum stated there is a false wall on the chamber's back wall. All you have to do is use inspect on it, and it will reveal itself. I stay quiet and give her a head tilt that tells her I'll handle it. After about 2 minutes of walking, we approach a door covered in ice. I use my right wing and slam it against the ice, it shatters, and the door is free. I push the door open, and we enter a room full of treasures. All of this is probably trapped. I look to Sally and see the apprehension on her face. She has good instincts not going for something so tempting. I make a path through the piles of gold to the back wall and use inspect on it. False wall. Do you wish to open the false wall? Y/N. I think yes and reach my hand out at the same time. I push open the hatch, and a dusty room is revealed. There is a chest in the very center of it, and it's the only item in here. I use inspect on it too. Flint's results on Project Glacis. Description: this chest holds the successful creation of Project Glacis. The one who opens the chest will receive what's inside. I look at Sally and nod my head for her to go. She walks up to the chest and opens it. A single scroll floats out of it, and she takes it from its floating position. She turns to me with a smile. What are you waiting for, Sally? Read it and get the class. She nods her head and unfolds the paper scroll. I watch her read it for about 30 seconds, and then a bright blue light comes from the paper. The light enters Sally, and after all of it enters her, she falls to the ground. Taking or receiving a bunch of power in a short amount of time like that can cause a lot of stress on the body. I walk up to her and pick her up. I carry her in my arms and leave the hidden room. I look around the giant chamber full of treasure and regret it's all trapped. We have what we came for, so that means we can leave. We don't need to clear the dungeon, and I'd like to get a move on to the Holy City. So this dungeon isn't getting cleared today. I backtrack through the winding tunnels and passages. After about 30 minutes, I make it to the entrance of the dungeon and get a prompt if I want to leave or not. I accept the option to leave, and I walk out into the nice warm sunlight. I spread out my wings and launch off the ground. I head away from the city and dungeon and in the direction of the Holy City. After flying for an hour, I land and set Sally against a tree, and I take a load off. I relax and enjoy the silence. I want to wait until Sally is awake before we head into the Holy City. After another 30 minutes, she begins to stir and sit up. I watch her open her blue-green eyes and look at me. As soon as she does, she gives me a big smile. I've got a legacy class, she speaks in a sing-song-like voice. I smile and can't stop myself from feeling happy for her. She now has the power to do whatever she wants. She is free from the will of others. Now her life is her own. Chapter 153, Sally's New Power. Sally stands up and draws her sword. I smile and stand up myself. I flex my wings and get ready to try out her new power. I'm going to test my new skill out on you. Hopefully, this time I can do something to those wings. I chuckle, knowing that she can't. Her class is strong, but her weapon has to be legendary or higher to damage my wings. I get into a defensive stance and use my hand to tell her to bring it. She bursts forth with speed she didn't have before. I bring my wings up to block her attack, and she collides with them hard, but I feel no pain in my wings and no drop in health. You have way too much power for the level that you are. I give her a head tilt knowing she is right. I have way more power than Blue Chaos ever did when he had this class to start out. The potential of my power is several times higher than his ever was. She jumps back and quits attacking. She isn't even tired out from the heavy assault she produced. I flex my entire body, including my wings, and launch at her with speed she couldn't keep up with before. She dodges and avoids the swings of my wings. She is moving much faster now. She definitely got a huge stat boost from the legacy class. You are much stronger now, Sally. You have access to real power now, and you can do whatever you want with it. She grins with happiness when I say that. Sally is a sweet and kind person despite what happened to her as a child and the years that followed. It takes an incredible will and desire to live to come out the way she did. She jumps back and sheaths her weapon. It's all thanks to your help. I wouldn't have been here now if you didn't ask me to come with you. It's like fate brought us together. I know that she likes me a lot, and she knows I know. She has attempted to get me to feel the same way, but I don't. I relax my wings and fold them slightly behind my back. They aren't toggled off, just out of the way. One's life is determined by the choices one makes. I chose to invite you along, but you chose to join me. You only have yourself to thank. You'd still be working in that and if you decided to ignore the offer. It was your own faith that there are good people out there not out to hurt you. You have gone through more personal growth than I ever could. She blushes at my words. I'm not trying to get her to blush. She needs to hear how far she has come. It can really help a person with issues if you tell them the good things they have done, to show them that they are a better person than they think themselves to be. You'll give a girl the wrong idea with words that sweet. I chuckle as she says that. She gives a light one too. Now that we have completed this, is it time for the holy city? I nod my head slowly as she looks at me. Some of the most influential and richest people reside in the holy city. Not only are the people born from noble blood obsessed with blood purity, they are extremely racist to other species and non-noble purebloods. You must already know about the state the holy city is in with that expression. I won't force you to go, Sally. I'm not liking the idea of walking around a bunch of racists. I have to, though, to get my mana aura. She looks at me in annoyance and huffs as she turns her head away. I don't think that was what she wanted to hear. I'm going to be there for you, Zirn. After all you've done for me, how can I abandon the mission because of some racists' assholes? You are not getting rid of me that easily, Zirn. I should have known better. I wanted to give her one last out before it gets tough. She walks up to me and hugs me. Her forehead comes up to my bottom lip. She is much taller than most women. I care about you no matter what happens. I'm sticking right by your side. I put my right hand on top of her head and wrap my left arm around her. The least I can do is hug her back. She hugs me longer than I'd like her to, but I'll let it slide. The moments we have spent together are probably the most trust she has shown a man. I can't throw that back in her face right now. Enough of this mushy crap. Let's get a move on. I want to get to the holy city by tomorrow morning. She lets go and looks up at me with damp eyes. She dries them and nods her head. I kneel on the ground, and she climbs on my back. I launch off the ground once she is secure and quickly reach an altitude above the clouds. I'm never going to get tired of this, I hear her whisper as we fly at a slower speed than our journey to the fairy kingdom. Instead of sitting up, she lays on my back and hugs me tightly from behind. She is taking advantage of the situation. I can tell her to stop, but I'm not that cold-hearted. I'll let her cling from the ride. As Sarah and Sally travel to the holy city, there is a meeting about the war. It's between all the rulers and the church. Many are present with holograms. The Pope is the first to speak, listing off the reports from the most recent conflict. This war has started up again from its previous silent state. From these reports, the monsters have even stronger creatures and larger forces. Many civilians are looking to the church for support. As the Pope, it's my job to fulfill the people's needs to the best of my abilities. I just sent copies of the reports to all of you. Please read through them and speak your mind as you please. Multiple copies are sent out at my command, and many are silently reading the reports. The news is dire indeed. The war is going to escalate soon. We will mount an offensive of our own if we wish to win this war. Constantly defending against attacks will only make us weaker in the long term. I heard that the monster forces had been bolstered, but not to this degree. Queen Fiona Heartfire I speaks her thoughts out loud. Her country is having an economic boom thanks to the fairies' new kingdom. Many smaller countries are demanding aid from her. She has yet to respond to any of them. The country of Salamander will be a hub of new activity for a very long time. Fiona is lucky to have them in her kingdom. As you can see from the reports and the countries that have suffered attacks, the enemy is getting stronger. I want to propose an idea to all of you. I hope they'll give this a chance. Many stay silent, waiting for my words. I say we launch full-scale invasions of the countries that have already been taken or are close to it. We need to show the people and monsters we aren't going to sit around and allow all this to happen. Many stay silent at my proclamation. However, none are openly objecting. The problem is moving such large forces in unison and establishing a new chain of command. If all the kingdoms combine their efforts, then the force will be stronger than anything before it. The only problem with this is the coalition. I understand what you are saying, Alex, but the coalition isn't going anywhere. So we'll all have to discuss a way around it. Gregory already knows what this topic implies. I'm more than willing to leave the coalition alone, but I have to step on some toes with this war. If any of you have an idea on how we can work around this, please speak your minds. The sooner the kingdom's forces are combined, the faster we can retaliate in this war. Many mute their holograms so they can speak with their advisors and generals. This might be the day we see the first unification of all human kingdoms since the Great War thousands of years ago. The holograms unmute, and I hear Gregory speak first. The coalition and the remaining kingdoms aligned with the church are will to combine forces, on one condition though. The church can fulfill most things, and it shouldn't be too hard. We want the cooperation of the elven kingdoms. Their magic and fighter will greatly help bolster our forces. I know that this entails what you and the church consider heresy, but this is the condition we have laid out. Contact me or any of the coalition members when you have come to a decision. All of the holograms turn off in that instant. I'm very upset right now, and at the same time understanding. The help of the elves will tip this war in our favor. I'll talk to the council about it. Until then, I have much to go over with reports about the war. Hopefully, the sun is revealed soon. He could help us greatly in this war. I'm going to start losing my hair if the stress continues to be this bad. I don't do bald. Chapter 154, The Holy City I. We have been flying for some time now, and we are only an hour or so away from the Holy City. Sally has been quietly resting on me and humming a melody. She has a real talent for that, in my opinion. It's very relaxing and calms my jumbled mind as it drifts from one problem to the next. It has been a peaceful trip with success so far. We got her the Legacy class Frost's Wrath. Now we are moving on to my Mana Aura. I have to be honest and admit this is daunting to me. I have no answer from the future to help me, nothing to steal from another. Just like the puzzle in the dungeon. Only on a much bigger scale. I hope I'm up for the challenge. I'll have Fenrir and Sally's help with the difficult ending to the quest. I have the lore tablet saved too. It only has one use, though. This quest is a measure of my own determination and will to succeed. Not someone else's hard work. I'm taking this time around. The sun has long set, and the stars are out. I never get tired of seeing them, a masterpiece beyond expectations. It's so much more beautiful than Earth. Sally, do you ever wonder if there is life beyond the stars up there? In truth, there is. In the sense of players coming here, we are aliens to Ancient's world. I wonder if there is extraterrestrial life in this universe. If we did get stuck here, I wonder if it's the same universe or not. That isn't something that will be answered anytime soon. It might after the players settle in and build their own kingdoms or not. So many things to do. It's almost overwhelming. One of my dreams was to travel around the Earth, see all the things humanity has built. I couldn't do that. Maybe I can here. I believe that there is life beyond our planet. The universe is too big for there not to be. What a thought to reach out into the cosmos, a poetic thought, Sally. I like it. It's true too. Perhaps a couple of centuries from now, the players' offspring will create a space program. However, the wonders and adventures of Ancient's world will be too addictive. The children of the players will call this place home, call it Gaia. Earth is a foregone memory now, and its history will eventually fade as more are born from the players. The eventual births of kids from players will happen. Make me wonder if they will be treated like players do or as NPCs. Sally runs her hands up and down my torso. She is bold with the free pass I've given her. She shouldn't get used to it. Where did you new people come from anyway, Zirn? You all showed up overnight in the billions. It's an absurd thought, and even more so since it actually happened. Many NPCs called us insane when some of the players told the truth of that time. Now it doesn't seem like the truth. This is a separate world, after all. JNX really did something beyond their time. The human race is now no longer as vast as it was because of them. Earth was doomed to die after my lifetime. So in a way, it's a good thing it happened, but so many died. Many came to this world alone without the one they love. Some perished with the ones they loved. The lucky one like me was brought with my family. I'd have lost my mind if I lost them. I'll never take that for granted, and if a player who lost everything needs my help, I'll lend it. This whole situation is mostly my fault anyway. I couldn't have foreseen the outcome since I didn't think it was possible. You wouldn't believe me if I told you, Sally. Our strange ability to grow strong and fast. Our special place in this world, you and others wouldn't believe the absurdity of it. One day you'll know, but that's a long time from now. By the way, shouldn't I be treating you as a senior citizen since you are over 100 years old? Her hands dive into my armor and grab a chunk of my skin. She pinches a piece of skin and tries to twist. Her result ends in my skin not twisting and her fingers popping in resistance. OOWW. What are you made of, you big meanie? The difference in stats can do that. I chuckle, and that frustrates her more. You know better than to say something like that. I get there is a big age difference, but that doesn't change the way I feel. I feel her bury her face in my back after saying that. Even I'm blushing a little from those confident words. She is an extraordinary girl. She could have turned out so much different after what happened to her, but she has become this amazing woman. I could see myself with her, but not anytime sooner or later. Too many demons haunting both of us, being a support for each other is better right now. I like that I can confide in her, and she in me. I don't want to change to something complicated when either isn't ready. She has decided to stay silent after that little show. As the days go by, she grows more important to me. I'm unfamiliar with how to respond to that, Sally. So I'll say what comes to heart. I care about you, and age isn't a problem. The state of our heads is, though just remember, neither of us is ready. She nods her head slowly while still buried in my back. Coming to an understanding of this situation will be a good thing in the long run. All the things that could happen between us in the future should be when both of us are really ready. Sally will be a very powerful and influential person once her power develops. We still have a bit before we make it to the Holy City. I want to walk the rest of the way from here. The security around the city will be tight, and I don't want to land anywhere nearby. She stays quiet and doesn't move. I know she heard me, and that's enough for me. I bring us down slowly and gentle land. She gets off and stretches her body. I do, too, and my body pops, unlike hers. It'll be a couple of hours walking since we aren't flying anymore, but we'll get there tonight. She gives me a big toothy smile and looks full of energy. I really do hope she nurtures her power into something great. It's not something I can help with since she is an NPC. She doesn't have access to the system like us players do. It is one of the biggest reasons we grow so fast and efficiently. We get to choose and pick, while the process is much more complicated for NPCs. I can help her with fighting and techniques, but improving her level is her responsibility. I like the thought of having a nice walk with you under the blanket of stars. It makes me feel good inside. I chuckle and begin walking towards the marker on my map. I toggle my wings off since it's an area with tons of people looking for me. Stay close to me when we reach the city. I don't want anyone bothering you because you are a half-breed. If you aren't one of them, you are garbage. The same goes for me. I might be human, but I'm a peasant in their eyes. The attitudes in the holy city are rumored to be very nasty. From the forum posts I read in my past life, the people in the holy city don't welcome outsiders openly. Sally falls into step right beside me. She reaches for my hand, but I pull it away. You've been handsy enough this trip. You're lucky I let you get away with what you did. Now instead of trying to touch me, how about you tell me more about yourself? I want her to tell me more about her past. The more I know, the easier it'll be to understand her pain. I won't be with her romantically or sexually until she is comfortable with telling me about her life up to this point. She huffs in slight frustration but relaxes and puts her hands behind her back. I've been abused any way you can think of since I can remember. When you are a slave, you don't have choices. Who you are with that night or how you are treated. This isn't something I want to talk to you about since most men think it's disgusting to be with a woman like that. In Ancient's world it might be, but a person is worth so much more than what others have done to them to me. I'll never see her as others see her in Ancient's world. Having a life like that is something I'll never fully understand, but I'll do my damnedest to try. Being abused mentally and physically shouldn't affect how others see, and I don't see people like that. It's wrong to do so. I'm not most men, Sally. You are so much more than others see you, and the views of others are hard things to push away. I know that, but I'll always see you as you. She stays quiet and looks down. She'll talk more when she is ready. Chapter 155, The Holy City 2. I take in the cool breeze as we walk through the forest. The relaxing sounds of the bugs and branches clear my mind. What I said to Sally might mess with her feelings for me. She might end up liking me more. I want to avoid situations like that, but Sally needed some encouraging words after the incredibly personal thing she shared with me. I'm going to end up with a complicated situation eventually. It's a byproduct of what is happening, and I can only cross that bridge when I get there. I'm not an expert on women and what they go through, but I like to think I have a clue. Many years of dealing with highly emotional people have taught me many things. I've developed some tact when it comes to complex situations to handle. I look over to Sally, and she is still looking at the ground and avoiding eye contact. I hope what I said didn't make her upset. She isn't acting like her usual cheery self. I fold my arms and relax my shoulders. Thinking about what she is going through right now isn't going to answer any of my questions. I should focus on something else, and one thing I can think about is how to find the woman known as the Secret Keeper of Titans. The marker leads to the Holy City. However, that's all it does. Whoever she is, it's going to be challenging to look for her discreetly. I want to keep my identity hidden, and asking around for such a mysterious figure is bound to raise some heads. I don't know much about the Holy City and who to speak with. Innkeepers are excellent sources of information but are only privy to the talks of drunks and adventurers. Someone as unknown as the secret keeper of Titans will be very careful about who she talks to. You don't get a nickname like that without being careful. Why do you always know what to say? My thoughts are interrupted by a question from Sally. They are my thoughts, the only original thing about me. The things I say to Sally are things I didn't steal from someone else. On a forum or by word of mouth. When you can comprehend someone enough, you can help with the words you say. It's one of the things I can do. Don't go thinking I always know what to say either. I'm bound to piss you off with something I say. So hold off on the kind words. She looks at me with a grin. She seems to be in a better mood now. I don't want her thinking that I'll always know what to say, only sometimes. I don't want her opinion of me growing to places that aren't true. What are we doing first once we are inside the holy city? If you don't have a plan, I'd like to know now. In truth, I don't have a plan, so I should make one. Where can I go for information about someone as mysterious as the secret keeper of Titans? Older people are good sources of information. They have been around the longest. Perhaps someone on the elderly side is the one to ask. Now where can I find older people willing to talk about what they know? The poor districts are excellent sources for what I'm looking for. If I lay down a good price, someone will help. We'll head to the poor district and ask the older people around. They'll have valuable information. Sally gives me a silly look and sighs. I guess that's not a good idea. I tilt my head for her to elaborate why it's not. She takes a breath and wears a calm face. The holy city doesn't have any poor districts. It's probably the wealthiest city on this continent. If you want to talk to older people, frequent church attendants are the ones you want to ask. The majority are elderly and getting better relationships with the light gods before they pass. That's a brilliant idea. I didn't know the holy city lacked a poor district. I nod my head in agreeance with her information. We have a few hours of walking left, so continuing in silence sounds like a good idea to me. While Zirn and Sally continue walking to the holy city, there is a conversation happening between the church officials. The meeting is about the demand the coalition made by reaching out to the elves and getting their help. The highest-ranking officials are at this meeting. Lucy has even returned to be there in person. The one leading this meeting is, of course, the Pope. There is a deathly silence in the room. Everyone knows why we're here, and many resent the idea. Lucy has had a very mean-looking expression the minute this meeting has been happening. I know the asking price for the coalition and the elves is ridiculous, but we need to consider the big picture here. This war will be the end of humanity if we don't do something. As the church, we have to protect the innocent at any cost. Many protests with shouts and angry fits of rage at my words. I don't blame them. We are treating the grandson of the Almighty Father like a bargaining chip. My pride as the Pope has sunk dramatically. The elves and the coalition can go screw themselves for all I care. Lucy shouts above everyone's voices, and many shout in agreement. This will be so much harder than I thought it'd be. Why don't we force the coalition into helping us? It's the quickest solution to this problem. Lucy has been against the coalition for a very long time. Her saying that doesn't surprise me. I might have to use my power as the Pope to overrule everyone. Calm down, everyone, this isn't getting us anywhere. Let's weigh our options and consider what's happening. A voice rings out from the bickering and angry officials. I look at Dexter, and I'm glad I have someone willing to listen. Dexter is in charge of public relations. He is a genius in knowing what the people want and how we can help them. Many look at him with pissed off faces, and Lucy's mood is getting worse by the minute. It's not like we have to honor the agreement. We can say yes, and then back out later. Our reputation and dignity will take a hit, but we'll reach the goal of a complete unification of all the forces against the monsters. I'm not too fond of the idea of going back on our word, but this might be the only way. There is the option of me still using my political power to do it. The elves will never forgive humanity, but this war is a more pressing matter. Many have gone silent at his suggestion. Everyone has a thinking face on, considering the idea. I like the idea. Lucy immediately voices her backing of the idea. Others quickly join in agreement with the plan. The church is turning from its identity with this move, and it makes me sick. I don't seem to have any other options either. I sigh and raise my hand. Everyone quiets down and waits for my input. The damage between elves and humans will never be repaired. If we go through with this, everyone has to be in agreeance. We'll have another meeting one day from now and give our final votes. I hope it doesn't come to this, but if it does, I won't stand in the way. Many agree and stand up. Everyone leaves, and it's now just Lucy and me in the meeting room. She looks at me in disappointment. I understand her feelings, considering what I was suggesting. You are lucky to have not incurred the wrath of the Almighty Father. This should have never been brought up, Alex. I hope I don't have to see such decisions being made again. It turns my stomach the church has fallen so far. She turns and leaves before I can respond. In one day, we'll be deciding to betray the elves or not. I hate politics. I envy the ones who don't have to deal with this. Sometimes I wish I can leave and go on adventures. After this war is over, I'm retiring. The hours pass, and it's deep into the night. Zirn and Sally can now see the walls of the holy city. Zirn sees something out of place, though. I look at the giant line that is only made of men. They are individually scanned with some magic device. This smells very fishy to me. Monsters don't have the power to attack the holy city yet, so why are they scanning people? Men specifically being scanned is troubling. Sally also has a concerned look on her face. I don't want to wait in that line. We are finding another way in. This is definitely something I should avoid. Sally nods her head, and we get out of sight of everyone. We walk in the trilene and stay beside the walls. There are constant patrols every 30 feet. This is going to be harder than I thought. Does your class have anything that can help with this? I look at Sally, and she smiles as I say that. That is a good sign. Chapter 156, The Holy City 3. The skills that I have can't get us into the city without being noticed. I could fly, but the slight glow of my golden wings will give us away. Our options are running thin, so if Sally has a skill she can use that'll get us in, then I'm all for it. I look at her, and she has her eyes closed. A couple of seconds later, 2 ice soldiers form behind her. These guys can fight, defend, and move fast. I can only make 2 right now. When I start leveling up my skills, I can create more, and they'll be stronger. This is perfect. If they can move independently, we can create a hole in the defenses. I walk up to them and check them out. They don't have any defining features. They are like blocky men. Can they move independently from you? We can have guards chase them, and after a breach is formed, we can get in. She nods her head with confidence and has a slight smug look on her face. She deserves to indulge in pride. This is going to be a giant help. How are we going to get over the wall once the guards are chasing these guys? I plan to pick her up and run up the wall with my speed. My speed and strength stats are going to make it an easy feat. How comfortable are you being carried? I was thinking I can run up the wall while carrying you. If you aren't comfortable with that, then I'll think of something else. I don't want to make her uncomfortable and cause old scars to open up by doing this. I know that old mental trauma can be activated by certain things, and she was probably carried like a sack of bricks and tossed around. I don't want to do that to her. Sally gives me a thankful look. Being considerate of others' pain is something everyone should aspire to do. I'm perfectly fine with that, Zirn. Let me know when you're ready, and I'll send these guys out, and we'll leave the trilene and scale the wall. I want to check one last thing before I get into the city. I open my quest log and see my Divine Mana Aura quest hasn't changed. I hoped I could get a hint when I got close enough to the city. Maybe once I step into the city, it'll change. Sometimes quests work like that. No sense in delaying any further. Let's do this. I'm going to pick you up and run up the wall as soon as the guard's attention is drawn. She nods her head and points to her ice soldiers. I don't hear her say anything, so it must be telepathic communication. She turns back to me, and they take off out of the trilene. I pick her up in my arms, and she uses the situation to her advantage and wraps her arms around my neck to hold on better. We hear the shouts of guards and their quickly fading voices. I burst out of the trilene and run to the wall fast. I reach it and start running up it with extreme speed. We are at the top soon, and there are no guards in sight. I stick out one hand and use it to stick to the wall on the way down on the other side. We hand inside the city, and I hear a ding. I'll check that later. I run a good distance away from the wall and turn into an ally. I let go of Sally, and she fixes her hair. I'm a little surprised that works so well. I'm glad I could avoid what was happening at the gate, and now I'm in the city where I start my Divine Mana Aura quest. Now that we are safe and out of sight, I pull up my player interface and see a new notification. I open it, and my Divine Mana Aura quest has been updated. I pull up the information and what I read surprises me. Chain Divine Mana Aura quest. Description: now that you have reached Tier 1, you must undertake the real challenge. While many Mana Aura quests are the same, it's a known fact the rarer a class is, the harder the quests will be for that class. Objective 1, finding the secret keeper of Titans is up to you. Looking and asking around is a good way to find someone. That isn't your only option. However, the nobility can be very useful if bribed with enough money. Objective 2, complete the quest she gives you and get the first clue to the location of your Divine Mana Aura. Difficulty: Divine. Rewards: information about the location of your Divine Mana Aura. Hint: you will need a powerful ally to help you at the end of this chain quest. You will not be able to defeat the boss with your current strength. I didn't consider bribing a noble or high-ranking official in the city. That comes with risks too. Asking the older community at the church seems like the best option. If that doesn't work, then bribing a noble it is. We are going to an inn for the night. We'll start our search tomorrow and make our way to the church here in the city. This also gives me a chance to check if I got any mail from Amelia yet. She might have already sent another letter responding to the one I sent the same day. Sally nods her head and gives me a nervous look. I know what it's about too. The people here will give Sally a hard time because of who she is. Stay close to me, all right? I won't let anyone do anything to you. If someone tries something, I'll cut off their limbs and leave them to die. She doesn't give a response. She grabs to bottom of my leather chest piece and moves closer. She is so terrified of racists. It makes me want to kill anyone who acts in such a way. I turn, and she is still hanging on. We leave the ally and start walking the streets. We eventually come across a lively inn, and we enter. As we do, many go silent. Almost everyone stares at Sally. I'm scared. I give a hard look at everyone and even draw my blade. As soon as I do, many of the faces go pale. The oppressive energy of the witness weighs heavily on everyone. They avert their eyes and go back to their own business. I approach the front desk with Sally still hanging on. The innkeeper gives me a look of apprehension. I have half a mind to call the guards on you. Elf lovers aren't welcome here in the holy city. I squint ever so slightly and pull out 20 gold. I lay it on the counter, and he looks at it. However, I'm more than understanding to your ways. Here is the key to your room. It's upstairs. He tosses me a key, and I catch it. He takes the 20 gold pieces with a smile and goes back to his job. We quickly make our way up the stairs and enter the room. Sally takes many deep breaths and kneels on the ground as soon as we do. I take a knee beside her and stay still. I'm not going to touch her. It might be bad if I do. She reaches for my right hand and clasps it with both of hers. I grip the one hand I can in support of her. I hate this place. I can't help feeling like shit dragging her here with me. However, it can't be undone. We are here now. She looks up at me with eyes filling with tears. I'll get you a hood tomorrow if you want one. It'll draw less attention to you. Let me know, okay? She lets go of my hands and dries her tears. She gets up and walks over to the single bed in the room. I'll take the chair. You look like you need a comfortable bed after all that. We'll go as soon as you're up. She nods her head and flops down on the bed. I walk over to the soft chair and sit down. I close my eyes and relax as much as I can. This quest will be a hard one that takes a long time. Sally is going to be having a difficult time too. It's akin to torment in my eyes. If everyone knew that I was the son of Archangel Michael, many would treat her like royalty. It's ironic. I could help her if I revealed myself. I'll have to make it up to her. She is enduring all this to help me. Thank you for all your help, Sally. You are the only person I can trust, and I want you to know you can trust me. I don't open my eyes. I want her to know that. I hear the bed move slightly, and I hear the soft taps of her shoes come closer. I open my eyes, and she is standing in front of me. She has a sad look on her face. I want you to sleep in the bed with me. I don't feel safe without you in arm's reach. She isn't taking advantage of anything this time. I can see she is genuinely scared. I stand up and nod my head. She turns and walks back to the bed. She lays on it, and I sit off the side. I feel her hand land on my shoulder, and she brings me down with her. I lay on my side, and she wraps her arm around the top side of me from behind. Just lay here. I obey and close my eyes. She needs a friend who will support her, and I'm going to fulfill that role tonight. If I have to be a body pillow for her to feel safe, then so be it. It's the least I can do for all the help she has given me. Chapter 157, The Holy City 4. This is the first time I've seen Sally this scared. She has dealt with the people I saw today for her entire life. I couldn't imagine living the life she has, over 100 years of this torment from people. It's absolutely ridiculous. I know you aren't going to be getting much sleep tonight. I wouldn't either if I were you. If you need me to get you anything or help with something, let me know. She doesn't say anything in response. We just lay on the bed in silence. I leave my eyes closed and take a small breath. This quest will be difficult to complete, with so many racists making it hard. I'm going to have to be extra diligent. Some people are violent and will try to remove her forcefully. Can we get a hood for me tomorrow? If people didn't see my ears, they wouldn't tell the difference. I don't want to walk around being stared at and ridiculed all day. I can easily fulfill that request. I take a small breath preparing my answer. We can do that. Some stores won't serve us, and the rest will overcharge us for a hood. We'll go to a more affordable district and get the best deal possible. I also don't want you feeling bad because of your status. You have every bit of right to live a happy and normal life as they do. I feel her arm tighten around me, and she curls up slightly into my back. I'll do my best to make changes for her. No one should have to live a life like this. As someone with a lot of power, I can make a change. It's getting over my own greed of not wanting to be revealed. If you want, Sally, I can reveal myself and make your life here and everywhere easier. Just say the word. She doesn't say anything, and I feel her flick the back of my head. It doesn't hurt. I'll take that as a no. I don't think there is anything left to talk about tonight. I focus on trying to sleep, and I eventually do. I dream of nothing, and after the night passes, I feel the sun and its heat hitting my face. I lean up, and since Sally is still attached to me, she follows me up. It wakes her up in the process, and she lets go. I clean the gunk out of my eyes, and so does Sally. Let's get out of this place and get you a hood. I stand up and make my way to the door. I notice Sally hasn't moved yet and is curled up in a ball with her face in her knees. I walk over to her and sit on the bed. I'm not leaving you here alone, Sally. I don't trust anyone down in that bar, and if they see me leave without you, they might try something. Come on, let's get out of this inn and look for a store that isn't racist. She looks up at me and starts to get up. I lift myself off the bed and make my way towards the door. Sally is staying very close on my tail. We both slept in our clothes. We exit the room and make our way downstairs. The loud conversations quiet down as we descend. Many turn their gazes at us just like last night. This time I can see many adventurers that weren't here last night. We make our way to the exit, but two fatter men block it. Sally grabs the bottom of my chest piece and holds on in fear. You look like you don't have much money, but laying down 20 gold like you did last night proves different. You know what you've done, don't you? This is going to lead to a confrontation inevitably. Killing NPCs in cities is a big risk. If they aren't criminals, you become one. Players killing each other is different, but it has some punishment, not like killing an NPC, though. I'm only going to say this once. If any of you try anything, I'll kill everyone in this inn. I'm 100% serious too. If there are no witnesses to report the crime, I won't get in trouble. Many laugh at my words, and the man who spoke earlier stands up and walks over towards us. Sally is my main concern right now. She is probably scared shitless. Those are big words coming from a dead man. I'll tell you what, if you hand this pretty little thing over than my men, and I will let you go. She reaches out to touch Sally. I'm going to have. I instantly draw the witness and chop off his arm. I get notifications, but I ignore them. You son of a bi. I take his head off his shoulders before he can keep talking. I turn to the two fat men guarding the door and slash horizontally at their waists. I cut both of them in half. I turn around to the rest of the bar and see the scared faces of everyone. Don't worry. It'll be quick and almost painless. More than any of you deserve. Many try to rush at me to get to the exit. Others run for windows and rooms. I toggle my wings on so that I can kill these guys faster. I rush 5 and cleave them in multiple pieces with my wings. I dash around the room faster than anyone can react to or get away. I use the witness and my wings to tear everyone witness apart. After 20 seconds, everyone in the inn except Sally and I is now a pile of limbs and organs. The amount of blood will cause any non-veteran puke. I look to see Sally doing said vomiting. I toggle my wings off and sheath the witness. I walk over to her and stand by her side until she is done. Every time she looks up and around, she goes back to puking. She'll eventually be able to do these things. Once her stats and gear are good enough, it'll be easy. I even got a level up from that. I make sure the front door is locked, so no one walks in. Until Sally is ready to go, I'll wait patiently. I open my player interface and see my new level. Plus 4% level EXP. Slayer, Zirn, LVL.82. EXP, 1/100%. Title, The Son of Archangel Michael, Hidden, plus 3 more. Stats. Strength, 2095 Endurance, 2045 Dexterity, 2125 Speed, 2240 Focus, 14660. Health, 16,560/16,560 Mana, 146600/146600. Stat points, 10 Armor rating, 500. Inventory. Passive perks. Inheritor of the Sword, Son of Heaven, Slayer of Evil, Holy Willow Trees, Savior, Finder of Legends, the Divine who has legend destined for greatness, Dungeon Diver and Overachiever. Active skills. Heaven's Light LVL.9325/900 protected by Heaven LVL.9225/900/LVL.224600/13000 Perry LVL.380/300 Double Strike N/A King Slayer N/A Raging Machine N/A Winged Glory Angelic Flight. I'm not sitting at 0 stat points anymore, which is nice. I'm 1% into level 82 as well. I didn't actually think you'd do it, I hear Sally say something as I look at my stats. I turn my head to look at her and see her face. She looks at me in sadness. You killed them like they were nothing. I'm grateful you protected me, but you shouldn't kill people so quickly. You're an angel. Won't you get punished? I shake my head no. She gives me a confused look. After a couple of seconds, she looks at me to explain. I don't know why I don't get in trouble. It could be because I'm a new person. What I think causes me not to get into trouble is my other half. She gives me a strange look after hearing those words. I'm still half human, Sally. I'm the first half human and half angel ever to exist. There are no specific rules I have to follow. I have the free will of a human and the power and authority of an angel. She looks at me in slight fear. I could have worded that better. What I'm trying to say is I'm free to do whatever I wish. At least I think so. She stands up and wipes some of the saliva off her chin. She heads for the door and opens it. I follow her out and quickly close the door behind me, so no one sees or smells the mess in there. It'll probably be discovered in a couple of hours. They pissed and shit themselves before dying. I look at my clothes and see a problem. I'm covered in a lot of blood. It's early still, so not many are outside yet. I unequip my chest piece, so it doesn't look so bad. We take a few steps down the road, and I look behind me to see my bloody shoe prints. Hopefully, they have a policy where I can enter stores without shoes and a shirt. I unequip my shoes, and I hear Sally giggle slightly. In a way, it's funny. Take away the reason I'm like this, and I can see what it's laughable. We walk down the streets looking for a shop that's open already. I'm sorry you had to do that for me, Sally speaks out of nowhere and apologizes. I take a sigh and relax. My defined muscles untense, and some of my body pops. I promised to protect you, and I don't break my promises. She smiles and looks down with rosy cheeks. I might need to get new clothes after that mess. Chapter 158, The Holy City v. After walking around and searching stores that refused us service, we come across a little clothing store. It has some quality clothes, but nothing good. All we need is a hood for her, so this works perfectly. This place might show us some hospitality. We could even get to look at their stock before getting shouted away. I try to make humor out of the current situation. The racism on Earth was similar in many ways. Even after so much time, inequality existed everywhere. Sally looks really down about the stores we've been to today. The only good thing about today is my clothes aren't covered in blood anymore. It took about an hour for all of it to go away, though. I walk up to the front door, and Sally follows close behind me. I open it with a creak and see the quality of the place. If we can get anything here, no one in this city will. This place must be for the poor people. With no poor district, life must be hard for those without money. The counter is being taken care of by an older man with cracked glasses. I walk up to him, and he put down the book he is reading. Will you be able to help us? We've been all over trying to find a place that will sell us something. He looks at me and looks at Sally. He sighs and stands up. He walks into the back, and I hear a muffled conversation between two people. The other voice sounds like a woman. It must be his wife. They both come out of the back, and the woman gives us a hard look. We can help you, but if people found out we helped out an elf, they'll burn down our shop. We'll need to charge extra for whatever you're buying. I'm sorry we have to do so. This city is ruthless when it comes to these matters. I nod my head in understanding. I can confidently say I hate it from the little time I've spent in the city. I wouldn't lose any sleep if this place were reduced to rubble. I walk up to the counter and lay down 10 gold pieces. It shocks them a little, but I'm more than willing to overpay for such kind people. We need a hood for my friend here. She needs something to hide the cute ears. I can't see Sally's face, but I bet it's red. The old man takes the gold and takes it into the back. The lady follows him, and I hear a machine turn on. That sounds familiar. I can't quite place the sound. I close my eyes and think about what makes it familiar. I get a flash of my mother over a vintage sewing machine. It's a sewing machine. I haven't heard one of those in ages. We didn't always have the money for clothes, coming from a poor background. Mom found an old sewing machine from the late 20th century. After having it repaired and refurbished, she used it to make our clothes. While a little crude, they were comfortable and made with love. Haley wasn't a big fan of them. A woman can't really get away wearing stuff like that, from what I heard. Being a guy allowed me to wear it with minimum teasing. Haley was bitter about it for a while. Sewing machines are common here. Many clothes shops even have magically enhanced ones to mass-produce clothes and fabrics. Many of the older slaves had to learn how to sew for their masters. Sally explains some of the history of the sewing machine here in Ancient's world. To them, this place is called Gaia, and the history of this world is rich and full of things to find. This is the first time I've heard about a sewing machine in Ancient's world. I wonder how many more inventions and innovations I don't know about. I obviously missed things on the forum. Time is limited after all. Sally hears my mutters and looks at me in confusion. It's not something I can explain that she'll understand. Earth's technology is far beyond Ancient's world. The idea of a forum isn't something that would translate over to the NPCs of Ancient's world. I should stop calling them NPCs too. They are people now. They always were. We just didn't know. What a forum! I've never heard of something like that. From the way you describe it, you can trade information on it. Sally is a bright woman. Many people wouldn't be able to figure something out like that from just hearing the word like that. I can put it in terms she understands. You know how new people are special, right? She nods her head yes emphatically. A forum is a special way new people tell each other important information about something. A forum can be used for any subject, and it was one of the main ways new people communicated with each other. She gives a contemplating look. Relating it to something in this world is going to be too hard. The closest thing the people of Ancient's world have to a forum is the church's announcements. That is also one way the people can't talk back to the church. That sounds like an incredibly useful tool. How does such a thing exist? The concept of the internet will be too much to explain to Sally right now. I give her a sideways look and she raises her hands in surrender. Okay, don't tell me. I probably wouldn't understand anyway. I hear the machine turn off as she says that. The lady and man walk back out. This should do the trick. It'll make sure no one sees your ears, and it will cover the top half of your face. I'd say come again, but that is too risky. Sorry, we had to overcharge you. Be safe on your journey. They give a slightly apologetic bow. I bow back in gratitude. As I raise my head and leave, I get a notification from the system. What I read warms my heart more than I'd care to admit. System message: the Almighty Father and Archangel Michael are grateful to the couple known as Ruth Yellies and Eddie Yellies. They will be blessed with favor and have a better quality of life. Their grandchildren will also be given blessings at birth. So those are the names of those kind people. Once outside, Sally puts the hood on, and it's now impossible to tell she is an elf. The only giveaway is the long blonde hair. However, many wouldn't suspect her being an elf from solely that. Let's head to the church and see if any of the older people know where I can find the secret keeper of Titans. I also have some mail to check once we get there. Sally nods her head, and she is in a much better mood now that she is hidden. As Sarah and Sally make their way to the church, there is a meeting happening in the church. The Pope is leading it. The vote will soon be cast, and will decide if deceiving the elves is the way to handle this situation. Many of the officials are whispering to each other and have probably already come to a decision. Almighty Father, forgive us. We all know why we are here, and it's now time to decide. All those in favor of not tricking the elves raise their hands. No one on the council raises their hand. All those in favor of tricking the elves raise their hands. Everyone instantly raises their hands. I said I wouldn't stand in the way, and I'm going to keep my word. Then it's decided. Harry, contact the Elven Kingdom immediately and begin talks. We'll have a meeting with them tomorrow if possible. Harry is in charge of relations with non-human countries. I want everyone to know that I don't support this decision. I hope one day the damage from this action can be repaired, but we'll all be long dead by them. Those words make some of the members lower their heads, but it's too late now. I stand up and leave before everyone else. Lucy left last night to return to her post. I make it to my office and sit in my comfortable chair. I take off my hat and place it on the table. This is going to bring a second war to humanity's doorstep. We'll trade one enemy for another, and this makes me sick. I stare down at the pile of papers. All of them are the same things: supply requests, troop requests and money requests. I feel a burst of anger rise, and I shove everything on my desk off. God damn it! I flip my table and walk over to one of my several bookcases. Why has it come to this? I begin to pull the bookcases down and let them hit the ground hard and break. This is the first time in my life that I've been this angry. After the adrenaline high wears off, I sit on the ground in the middle of the mess I made. I do feel better after all that. I stand up and leave my office. It's been so long since I've been out of the upper floors of the church. I should go down and be with the gatherers. Many old ones are here. Perhaps helping the common people will make me feel better about this tragedy. I make my descent down the long staircase and enter the gathering chamber. I see rows and rows of people talking and praying. A smile crosses my face for the first time in a long while. Chapter 159, The Holy City 6. We enter the church and see a mass gathering of people. Most are surrounding a man in extravagant robes. Whoever he is, I'm not going to get in the way of that group. I'm going to check my messages really fast. If you want to send anything to anyone, now's the time to do it. Sally nods her head, follows me over to the message board, and does what everyone does. I check my mail and see that I've gotten two. One is from Amelia, and another is from Jackson. I should get Jackson's mail out of the way first, since it's probably nonsense about being a part of his kingdom or something. I was wondering if we could talk about something important. The next time you're in Zenith, visit me. I also want to inform you that your mother is adapting well to her new lifestyle. She is the most important person in this kingdom now. I'll do everything in my power to keep her safe. Signed, King Jackson. Nobles and their politics are something I'll never want to be a part of. I can understand it, but there are some things in life that need to be avoided. In a sense of irony, I brought this attention to myself. How was I supposed to know that Jackson would be king with my interference with the future? At the time of meeting him, I just wanted to get a good quest to level up. If I didn't get tunnel vision, I might have seen something like this coming. You know a king? I hear Sally's voice and look to see her snooping about by letter. I sigh and place it in my inventory. You know, many will consider that very rude. You're lucky I trust you with information like that. I guess I can put nosy on the traits that you have. She frowned slightly at being called nosy. Who were you sending a letter to anyway? You haven't told me much about friends you have. She has kept a tight lip about personal connections with people. Having someone powerful like a noble or slaver use your loved ones against you is a fear she might have. So she has probably kept a lot of people at arm's length. She looks at the folded paper in her hand and smirks just a little. Jessie Marlowe took me in after I escaped slavery. She taught me how to read, write, and the common languages. As a slave, you aren't educated. The dumber you are, the fewer chances of you escaping in. Besides, they don't like it when their outlets start to think, fuck Sally, if I ever meet anyone who does this to people, I'm going to enjoy killing them. Sally was smart enough to learn how to fight, and she escaped. All the more reason to trust her, in my opinion. She knows what evil is and hates it. Jessie Marlowe seems like an incredible lady. To take in a stranger like that and help them. If you ever want to go after the people who did this to you and your mother, I'll help you. Many wouldn't know the pain of losing a loved one, and killing the men who did this to you might bring you some peace, but I don't know. That's just how I feel. Sally has been through a lot from a young age. She wouldn't respond the way I would. She might be stricken with fear seeing their faces. When I see that man again, I'm going to enjoy taking him apart piece by piece. She stays silent and sends the letter. So, who is the second letter from? If you have a king sending you letters, I'd like to see who else is sending you letters. It's been a while since I heard from Amelia. The last time I heard from her was right before I sent Haley off. Are you going to open it or just stare at it? I smile and start to peel the letter open. It has the same ornate designs as last time, but not on the same scale as Jackson's. If I remember correctly, she said she was made into a countess in her last letter. I was getting worried not hearing from you for so long. I'm so happy you are safe. I couldn't help thinking you got into serious trouble. You're making your poor mother 10 years older. I'm a little sad it's going to be a while before I get to see you again, but everything in my life has been great as of late. King Jackson has been a big help in adjusting to the lifestyle of a noble. The kids are having the time of their lives and have even started going to school for the first time. They are getting smarter every day. The next time I see you, I'm expecting a strong man with a good heart. I can't wait to see how much you've grown. Love, your mother. I can feel the worry and nervousness in her writing. Change is never easy to accept. It's been so long since I've seen her face. I bet she is having a fun time learning the ins and outs of nobility. Sally giggles as I say that. She has read the paper too. Amelia is a very special person, even my father Michael saw that and treasured her. So much so he knocked her up. In truth, that's impossible with my existence. So another mystery yet to solve. I'll play that role, though. I take out a piece of paper and write back to Amelia. I'm in the Holy City right now. Doing a mission to unlock more of my power. I've made a friend and now have a person to travel with. Her name is Sally, and she is a half-elf. She is someone I can trust with my life, and I hope you two will get to meet each other one day. The next time I can be in Zenith will have to be after I'm done with something in Belvia. What I'm doing right now can take a while, so I can't give you a time frame. I'm happy to hear from you, and I hope to soon. Signed, your son. I fold up the piece of paper and put it in the envelope and send it. I turn around and see a man in his mid-30s to early 40s walk up to us. He is wearing very opulent robes. This must be your first time in the church. I haven't seen either of you before. Sally lowers her hood further and moves behind me. He looks slightly insulted but shrugs it off. I'm the Pope. I remember most faces that come through here, and I know I've seen your face before. I can't place it anywhere. It's driving me nuts. I cross my arms and look the man in the eyes. So this is him, Alexander Leopold. I don't see how he could recognize me, but this is the perfect chance to ask about who I'm searching for. Hello, Alexander Leopold. I'm Zirn, and this is my friend Sally. This is the first time we've been in the Holy City. We are searching for someone. Do you think you might be able to help us? He gives a very critical look. He closes his eyes and nods his head. I'm looking for the secret keeper of Titans. Do you have any information on her whereabouts? He immediately looks at me with surprise and slight worry. He recomposes himself and clears his throat. I haven't heard that name in a long time. She is a very secretive person. She is the one to select who the popes are. She has been alive for as long as the church. Well, not alive. Her spirit is still very active, though. She resides right here in the church, down on the lowest levels. However, only officials of the church can see her. She usually goes by the blind speaker. I've heard about the blind speaker. She plays an important role in the religious government. I would never have thought that she is also the secret keeper of Titans. Do you think we could speak to her? We are on a really important mission that requires her wisdom. As soon as I say that, a notification goes off. It's probably the quest updating. Since the Pope isn't responding, I open the quest to see the new update. Chain Divine Mana Aura Quest. Description: now that you have reached Tier 1, you must undertake the real challenge. While many Mana Aura quests are the same, it's a known fact the rarer a class is, the harder the quests will be for that class. Objective 1: now that you have found out where the secret keeper of Titans is, you must convince the Pope to let you see her. It's up to you on how to do so. Objective 2: complete the quest she gives you and get the first clue to the location of your Divine Mana Aura. Difficulty: Divine. Rewards: information about the location of your Divine Mana Aura. Hint: you will need a powerful ally to help you at the end of this chain quest. You will not be able to defeat the boss with your current strength. Talk about a real kick in the ass. I'm sorry, young man, but not just anybody can speak with the blind speaker. If you'll excuse me, I have business to attend to. He starts to walk off, but I block his path and give him a very serious look. I need to try and convince him right here and now, it's my only shot. Chapter 160, The Holy City 7. The Pope looks at me hard with severe discipline. Many of the guards make their way over and prepare for a fight, but the Pope holds up his hands and stops them. You are either extremely arrogant or extremely desperate. I can tell by the look in your eyes that it's desperation. If you knew how many people wanted to speak with the blind speaker, you would understand why I can't give you special treatment. Please leave before I have the guards throw you out. I don't move an inch from my spot. I lean my head down and look him directly in the eyes. After all the horrible shit I've seen in this city, it's safe to say that the church is no different than the people they let surround it. You will go down as the worst pope ever. Sitting in your ivory tower, looking down on everyone. No wonder the coalition was formed. You sure as hell can't be trusted. I see the twitch of his eye at my comment, and he wears a giant frown. If you won't help a single person, how do you have the ego to think you can help billions? If anyone is arrogant here, it's you. He is now fully mad. I don't think anyone has ever spoken to such a high figure in society. Many people around us are looking at me with intense scrutiny. The guards are even thrown for a loop. In all my years as Pope, this is the first time anyone has ever spoken to me like that. The anger I feel now is enough to abuse my power and have you hung from the gallows. However, perhaps the reason your words make me so mad is because they are true. The Pope fully waves the guards off. If you wish to meet her, follow me. She is the one who decides who sees her or not once we get there. I untense my body and look back at Sally with a smile. I can see her smile under her hood. The Pope begins to walk to a very old door, and we follow him. Please do not speak out of turn when we meet her. She is very powerful and very wise. The long flight of stairs will give both of us time to mull over the things said. I nod my head as we walk down the stairs. We walk down flights and flights of stairs. All of the rooms we pass are filled with treasures the church keeps locked away. After several flights, we reach the bottom floor, and a massive door is now in view. Walk up to the door. It's up to her if you speak to one another or not. I walk up to the door. Sally tries to follow me. The Pope stops her. Only him. I look back at her and nod in reassurance. I walk up to the door and knock on it. There is no answer. I push on it, and it creaks open. I see a single white hovering light in the center of the room. In an instant, it transforms into a see-through ghost woman. "You have finally come, we must speak alone," she waves her hand, and I'm sucked into the room as the door slams behind me. "You have grown powerful since you first arrived here, Sarah." I tense my body and back up slightly. I have no idea how she knows my real name. "You have come for another piece to your power, at least the clue to where it's it." I nod my head, and she smiles slightly. She doesn't look past her 20s, and while still a ghost, she is very beautiful. "I want the clue to the location of my mana aura. My quest tells me this is where I can get a clue on its location. It also says that I need a powerful ally at the end of this quest." She nods her head as if already knowing the details of the quest. She waves her hand again, and our scenery changes. I don't know the place, but I'm sure she'll explain it to me. She conjures up an table and tea set. She then changes into a physical form. She sits down at the table and indicates for me to join her. I walk up to the table and take a seat across from her. "I know everything about you, Sarah Adamo. It was you who made the wish after all." She knows everything, doesn't she? She might know what's happened to the timeline fully. "You have caused great trouble with the decisions you've made, especially with your wish. Breaking the flow of time is a serious thing, and you have abused that to the fullest extent." She doesn't have to tell me about my mistakes. I would have made a smarter wish if I anticipated all of this happening. However, a wish is a wish, and in my opinion, you couldn't have made a better one for yourself. Though it has come at the cost of billions of lives. Now, this is something I don't want to hear. I lean back in my chair, trying to relax from this stressful situation. "Are you going to tell me where I can find my mana aura or not? Lecturing me is too late at this point." She sighs and snaps her fingers. A scroll appears, and she tosses it to me. She takes a sip of tea and waits for me to read it. I open the scroll and its instructions. As I read, I get a notification. I open my quest logs and see that my Divine Mana Aura Chain quest has changed. Chain Divine Mana Aura Quest. Description: now that you have reached Tier 1, you must undertake the real challenge. While many Mana Aura quests are the same, it's a known fact the rarer a class is, the harder the quests will be for that class. Objective 1, go to the Valley of Fallen Gods. Objective 2, fight the creature that is guarding your Mana Aura. Objective 3, return to the Holy City to speak to the Secret Keeper of Titans. Difficulty: Divine. Rewards: Divine Mana Aura. Hidden. Hint: you will need a powerful ally to help you at the end of this chain quest. You will not be able to defeat the boss with your current strength. My quest has been updated in large amounts. I've never heard of a place called the Valley of Fallen Gods. Don't let the name deceive you. There are no actual fallen gods there. There was a large battle between very powerful beings, mortals with godlike powers. They killed each other in a battle for supremacy as only the strongest could rule in the end. No one made it out alive. The Mana Aura that you seek is there. I nod my head and stand up. I bow to her slightly and make my way to the out-of-place door in this open field. Be cautious, though, Sarah. What's in that valley is unknown even to me. I bow my head in thanks once again. I exit the door and see that Sally is patiently waiting. The Pope looks at me with strange intrigue. You are very lucky. She doesn't speak to everyone. Which begs the question about who you are. I'm still having a hard time placing your face. Now that your business is done, I take it you are no longer going to need anything from the church. I confirm his words with a nod. What you said early, your words are true. I hope one day they won't be. He snaps his fingers, and we are now back in the mass gathering chamber. We quickly make an exit and get out of view of any guards. Sally tugs on my shirt. She tilts her head, trying to communicate for me to tell her what happened. We are heading to the Valley of Fallen Gods. I have a marker on my map about 4,500 miles north. The bad news is most of that territory has probably been taken by monsters. Sally flinches at the thought of monsters. She doesn't have to be afraid anymore. She has her own power and me as we walk down the street to the exit of the city. A worldwide announcement goes off, and it puts a smile on my face. Worldwide announcement: a player has discovered the legendary class, Battle Mind. This is a one-of-a-kind class and has been removed from the potential options. Worldwide mission: the Coalition of Free Kingdoms wants any information regarding the player with the legendary class Battle Mind. Rewards include legacy-grade weapons and armor. Haley did it. She has her legendary class. Now she has a bunch of attention. I wonder if she'll keep herself hidden like me. Wow, a legendary class only one grade below yours, I hear her whisper. The church must have announced it to the people of Gaia just now. I don't have to worry about Haley now. I take it from our direction we are leaving for the valley right now. I nod my head confirming her words. The Valley of Fallen Gods, here we come.